Hi, my name is Charlie Turnbull. We are Daily Shops Discovers, and this is Scottish Retail Food and Drink Awards, and we have finalist Alistair Sculler from the Five Kingdoms Brewing on the Isle of Witon. Alistair, that is a beautiful view.
It is absolutely stunning here this morning. We've come outside onto the harbour in this tiny little village of Isle of Witon in the southwest corner of Scotland, and it is absolutely beautiful. We could do with the tide being a little more in, but it's stunning sitting here.
Obviously, though, I can hear the wind. Is the wind actually trying to push your laptop off your table?
It is. It's a little breezy, which is why I've still got my jacket on. Although it's beautiful sun, it's still quite cold. But
okay. For those people that don't know, where is the Isle of Witon?
Isle of Witon is pretty much as far south and west as you can go in Scotland. We're tucked in right on the end of the peninsula, just along from Stranraer. So if you go to Glasgow, we're about 2.5 hours south. So we're actually further south than Newcastle. So right down in the corner, very remote.
And before we get on to the beer, Five Kingdoms? You are king of Five Kingdoms?
I am. When we're thinking up a brewery name, I had a kind of blinding flash of inspiration because you can see Five Kingdoms from the back of the brewery. If I turn the camera around on top of the hill, you can see Scotland, England, Ireland, Isle of Man, and a really clear day you can see Wales. So that's where the name came from, Five Kingdoms.
Wow. So you're old Celtic Britain, basically.
That's us.
Okay, well, let's talk beer. You've sent me some samples, but you're going to give us a bit of a masterclass. What are you good at? Show us your best.
The two beers that we entered are our two premium beers. We've got Five Kingdoms Dark Storm Stout and Captain Morrison's IPA. These are our two flagship beers, two of the stronger ones that we do. They, through lockdown, have probably been the two most popular beers. They're not session ales, they are sort of occasion beers. And we've been extremely happy with them. They've won quite a lot of awards, but they're only kind of the start of our range. As you could also see, we do another 9 different ones in bottles, all 500 ml. They're all unfined, they're unfiltered, they're naturally bottle conditioned. So they're suitable for vegetarians and vegans. And we've got a selection of different styles, but these are the two I'm going to showcase for you today.
Okay, I've got the IPA.
The IPA, a little bit of history behind that. Captain Morrison is actually a relation of mine who took his family around the world trading. We wanted to brew a full-strength IPA, not a kind of weak variant, which means I believe it would be over 6% with a lot of hops in it. But we wanted to make it drinkable, so if you get on the nose, you're getting all the characteristics of hops and tropical fruits and that, but it's balanced. And then again on the flavors, there's a little touch of sweetness in it, but a lot of hop in the dry hop, so you're probably going to get that coming through at you. But the key thing to us is getting this balance right between the malts and the hops and making it drinkable, because we're not chasing to have the hoppiest beers there or the beers with the most IBU. It's all about a kind of commercial balance and a smoothness, and we think the Captain Morrison's probably, to us, ticks the boxes. It's the ones me and Brendan the brewer go to at the end of a long day.
The one that you want. Yeah. I mean, this is I'm not a professional beer drinker by any strength. I like beer only when it's worth drinking, if I can put it that way. But this is an old school beer. It's hop led. It is not. I mean, there are notes of citrus. I would have thought more of these sort of orange peel kind of notes. But it is substantially a British beer style, and it's really beautifully done.
Good. We're extremely happy with it. It has been, through lockdown, between it and Dark Storm, #1 seller, but even given its strength. I think what people are wanting just at the moment is they're not having a number of beers. They're maybe looking for a beer for an occasion, like one at the end of the day, one with a nice meal, and that's really what this beer is for. It's not one you'll sit in the afternoon and have half a dozen. It's one you might have 1 or 2 at the end of the day or with your meal. That's the kind of design remit for it, and it's been incredibly successful for us, this one.
Fantastic. I mean, it's got a beautiful head, very, very creamy, smooth head. I don't want to say the Boddington's word, but remember that Boddington's really smooth head that it's delivered, which is, I really like that texture. So it's really nice.
Yeah. It's got a bit of mouthfeel to it. You know, we got a bit of grip. You know, when you pour it into a glass, you get a big head, and you get a lot of lacing. It's in really good condition. You know, and I think the bottle conditioning that we do actually helps that.
So just for the people watching this who might not know what bottle conditioning means, can you brief that and then what it means to the consumer as well?
Briefly, what that means is when we take it out of the fermenter, we don't inject any carbon dioxide into it to give it the carbonation. We will put it in a warm room for 2 weeks, and the yeast that's left will act on the sugar that's left and produce CO2. So it's naturally fizzy.
But it also means you're going to get a little bit of sediment at the bottom of the bottle.
You will get a little bit of sediment at the bottom. Like most of the top Belgian beers that do exactly the same way. You just have to pour it carefully if you want it to be crystal clear. A lot of people actually like that in the glass as well with them. That's purely a personal preference. And because we're not adding any finings or anything to it, it's okay for vegetarians and vegans because we're not putting anything else into it.
Cool. Yes, vegetarians and vegans have to drink too. That's very important.
Certainly do.
Okay, that is. I can understand why this is a go-to comfort drinking beer, if you know what I mean. It's very, very nice. So, what your next most successful one is your Dark Storm.
Dark Storm Stout was one of the first recipes we actually developed, and we were thinking about developing a stout that had all the characteristics of a good stout, but making it slightly more drinkable, not as heavy. Because sometimes we can find if you get a high ABV stout, it's almost slightly viscous, and it's, you know, you maybe enjoy the first couple of sips, but then it becomes a bit cloying. So what we wanted to do was take all the characteristics of a good stout, like the coffee flavors, the richness, the smoothness, but then make it so that you could drink a pint of it, and it's nice, easy drinking. We call it's a sipping beer, and I think it's best drunk on a really wild, windy day by the fire, maybe with some nice cheese and biscuits. You know, that's the kind of the remit we're looking for with it. Not too much on the nose. It's all about the palate for this one. Smoothness, creaminess, and quite a long finish, but it's got a touch of dryness in the finish, so it doesn't fill up your mouth and leave the taste there. It's still very much a beer that you can drink.
It's interesting. So I poured it, and the first thing that came up the nose is actually has a strong opening coffee flavor. Yeah. But I'm going back to it, and the flavor has receded, and it's now sort of more of the stoutiness, if you know what I mean. That's what. It's very warming. It's got a real sense of I don't mean sort of almost like a nice creamy. I don't know. I'm not saying the wrong thing, but it's got that kind of smooth creaminess to it.
We use quite a lot of oats in the brew, which gives you that kind of mouthfeel to it. You know, a bit of body to it.
I'm loving the way the wind is doing its level best to blow your computer away.
I know it's getting up a bit as well.
It is. That's fantastic. So I don't know if you can see it, but you're telling me that the brewery is sort of opposite you on the bay. Is that right?
The brewery is actually just across the harbour near where the bridge is. It's actually it's a closed down the other pub in the village, and we put the brewery in there, but it's literally straight across the harbour, no distance at all.
So yours is a family business. You've been running this forever, man and boy.
Pretty much. I mean, this pub here we've had since 1984. I'm sitting outside. The brewery building we've had that about 20 years. Unfortunately, we had to close it as a pub, but now as a brewery, it's got a second lease of life, and we're actually hoping to expand it next year to incorporate a hostel into it, so you'll be able to come in, bed and beer. I think is going to be the selling point with that.
That's fantastic. Bed and beer. I absolutely love that. Your father, I'm assuming it wasn't you in 1984 that opened the bar. Either that, you're looking very good on it.
No, it was my father. He retired from journalism actually in 1968 and bought the Top Pub for 10 years, and then he bought this one in '84. And I started working here during primary school, and I've been here pretty much on and off. I decided to come back after university for a season, and that was about 20 odd years ago. So it's a beautiful place to live and work.
I can imagine. All right, let's get some of the facts and figures out there. How do people get hold of your beer? That's important.
The easiest way at the moment is to order online through our web shop, which has
for the trade.
At the moment, I don't have a major distributor, so we are selling direct from the brewery. So we can sell out from couriers, pallet line. It's not
cool.
It's not,
so get in touch direct or through deli shops and start a conversation. And you can send out samples or that kind of thing to get people's blood up.
More than happy to send out samples. We've also done Meet the Brewer days. We've gone down and met customers. I've done that. Most of the local businesses I've been working with. We work with all the local farm shops, and that's how we've got on board. We've done like a Meet the Brewer day, samples, and gone from there. At the very much, it's a growth phase at the moment for us.
Well, that's good. Well, we never move out of that. Stick with that one. So what would it mean for you to win the Scottish Retail Food and Drink Awards? I mean, you're a finalist, you've got a long way.
We would be absolutely over the moon. I mean, myself and Brendan are the two people actually doing the brewing. We've worked really hard on these recipes. They are very much a labor of love to us. And alongside that, all our customers that have come into the pub through the years, they've helped us develop the recipes. It's like direct customer feedback. Like some of the beers have actually been brewed specifically because customers have asked us about styles, and then they've asked us to brew things, and then they comment on it. It's a real labor of love for us, and it would be so made up if we won.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's been awesome to talk to you, Alistair. Absolutely best of luck. I believe the awards come out next Thursday, so we'll know soon enough as to whether the Five Kingdoms Brewery gets to rule the Five Kingdoms in beer.
We hope so. It's lovely to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Alistair. And don't get blown away.
Thank you.